All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to say hello to everybody. Tonight's Hyde Park Town Hall meeting, October 15th, 2024, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to have a motion to accept the minutes from September 9th and 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Okay, do we have to do everyone? May I have a second?
Second.
All right, will the town clerk please read the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Motion carried. All right, does any of the town board members have any conflict of interest regarding any of the items listed on tonight's meeting agenda?
No.
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 Okay. Let's move forward again. I should do this before this. Okay. I'd like to have a motion to add Resolution 1015-25 of 2024 to the dais. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Carried. Added to the end of tonight's meeting. Okay, we have workshops. Oh, do we have any need to public comments first?
No, we're going to do the public comments after, just in case if anybody had any comments on our workshop stuff
Okay,
too. So
good.
we're just going to switch it around a little bit. So we want to just, the supervisor and the town board wants to just discuss a couple things to the public so that they're aware of what's going on. There's three issues that we want to touch base on briefly here tonight. One of the issues is Optimum Altice. I want to bring you up to speed on that. Another issue is the town hall project here and moving of the departments and what's happening with a few of the departments. And the last one is going to be sewer updates to bring everybody, because everybody keeps asking and think that we're dodging them, but we're not. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I wanted to bring everybody up to speed with that. So the first topic we're going to touch on is Optimum Altice. As everybody knows, Optimum Altice has a municipal agreement with the town of Hyde Park. They have an agreement that's been in place for many years. We've been getting tremendous amount of complaints from the citizens and the people that the service and trying to reach out to these people is very, very, very difficult. So what we did is the supervisor directed the supervisor secretary to reach out to Optimum and try to set up a meetings. And believe it or not, for the last week and a half, we've been trying to get a hold of these people, and all the contact information that are in the files and emails and stuff that we have, the people have been gone, switched jobs or whatever, and didn't get any response. So after about a week of being frustrated, we finally got a hold of somebody, and we reached out to one of the executives, or we got a name of an executive, and basically told them that we wanted them to come to the town of Hyde Park with their team. We didn't want one person here, with their team that covers residential, commercials, and have a heart-to-heart discussion with the supervisor, the town engineer, the town attorney, and myself about how dissatisfied we are with the service of Optimum, and basically that they got to be on the same page, because if not, we got to take some type of action, and that might be turning them over to the Attorney General or sending some letters to the FCC, whatever we need to do. So the conversation that we had with one of the executives the other day was that we'd like to bring these people in, sit down, and we're going to go over all the complaints, all the problems that a lot of the people are complaining to us about, which basically goes from you can't get anybody on the phone, nobody calls you back, the installation crew for new construction, they're out 3 or 4 months, nobody can get service, on and on and on. So we're going to have that discussion, and we're going to then look at our municipal agreement with the, that they have in place, and basically say to them that we believe that they're not fulfilling their agreement, and see if we can put their feet to the fire to start getting these people to comply and satisfy the residents of Hyde Park. And above and beyond, another part of this conversation, how we really got onto this, we spent a ton of money doing the upgrades at the town hall and with the new media room and audio and everything. The Channel 22 has been a lot better, but we're finding out that it could be enhanced even more if the Optimum did what they said as per contract and gave us the proper equipment that hasn't been updated for many years down in the basement. So that's going to be a real hot topic. But I want the public to know that we are going to meet with these people. At the end of the meeting, I'm sure they're going to understand that we are very dissatisfied. We're going to get some contact information. We're going to have the supervisor secretary get some real physical numbers so that when somebody calls somebody and they're frustrated, there's people that they could talk to. We'll get it set up on the website. We'll communicate with the public of the easiest contact and means and methods to reach these people, and hopefully we can get back on track with Optimum. So that takes care of our communication issue.
Okay.
The next point I want to go over is the town hall renovation. We are very, very close to making the move here with the moving the staff from the old section into the new section. We have some resolutions in place tonight to hire some local movers and stuff to make this happen. We're thinking that if all goes well, it's possibly by the second week in November, that the moving company will be in on a weekend and take the departments that need to be relocated over to the new section of the building, that they would have that all taken care of and have all their furnishings and cabinets and all their equipment in place so that when they came back in Monday morning, they're set up and being efficient and ready to operate. Above and beyond that, we know that we've been having some issues with the building department. And as everybody knows, Don, after 35 years, retired. So we've been doing some interviews to hire a new building inspector, which has been a task because we had 5 or 6 different interviews, but this town board is visualizing that if we're going to put a new building inspector in, we want to have some new rules and change our means and methods of how the building department constructs business and does business with the people. So with that being said, when the building department moves up into their new offices here on this new side, we have a resolution tonight. We are starting with Martina, that is the municipal secretary. We are changing her position to a code enforcement clerk. Now, she's not getting any more salary increase, but this position as a code enforcement clerk now gives her the capability to fit in the county level, that she can go get trained so that she understands building code issues a little bit, understands the process a little bit more, so that when people come into the building office, she tells the people what they need, gives them the proper paperwork, and sends them on the way, and hopefully answers all their questions so that the people have an easy transition to get whatever building permit they need. With that being said, another resolution that we have tonight is we found a building inspector that we're very happy with, and we're excited to bring him on board. But this new building inspector has a lot of tasks to do, additional tasks that we didn't do before. So a couple of the things that we're looking for, Ray Kronheiser, the gentleman that we're going to hire. We had many conversations and discussions. We want to make the building department a little more business friendly and a little more efficient. I know that a lot of people have complained or stressed that, hey, listen, I go down there to get a little deck permit and I walk out with a 50-page booklet and I'm scratching my head and I got to bring it to my lawyer and my accountant and everybody to figure out what I got to fill out. We want to simplify that. So Ray Kronheiser, the gentleman that's coming in, we agreed that we want to simplify the process so that if you come into the building department and you want to get a permit for a deck or a small renovation project, that application is going to be there for you to fill out and understand and submit. If you want to do something a little more major, like house construction, there'll be another booklet or a pamphlet. That's going to be a little more complicated, but everything's going to be in there so that you have the tools and the means and methods to fill everything out and bring back in a timely fashion. The building department is also going to have a little more computer suave. We never accepted emails and did any computer correspondence prior. The gentleman that's coming in is going to start doing a lot more emails and communication by emails so that the people wouldn't have to come in, their architects don't need to come in and sit down with the building department. Not to say that there might be occasions that the building inspector might ask you to come in to clarify some issues or review the drawings, but for the smaller projects, we're hoping that you can get the forms, you can leave, and when you come back, everything, if you complete your checklist, everything's going to be processed so that you can get your building permit. So we're trying to, at the same time, bring the building department, simplify it a little bit when we get the new building inspector in there, and it's going to make everybody's life a little easier. Above and beyond that, we do have, and all the inspections are still done up to date, in the interim of why Don Westermeyer was going through his retirement. We didn't have anybody. We have Gary Beck from Z3, the supervisor, has basically told him to go out and do the inspections or whatever that we need to done so that we don't hold up any applicant or anybody that has an inspection that they're waiting on. So we are caught up and we are up to date with all the inspections, so that's a good thing because when we bring our new building inspector in, he has to hit the ground running with a lot of stuff. So we feel very good with that. So one other thing with the building department, why this transition's taking place and he's trying to figure out these forms and stuff like that. If anybody has any problems or they think that the process is still a little convoluted, we're always looking for somebody's input. You can always email the supervisor secretary, give us any updates. If you think that something needs to be done or why we're changing the process, have any great ideas to help us out, feel free to communicate that with us. We want to try to, when we bring Ray in, Cronizer, the new building department inspector, we want to try to have him set this up so that everybody can get what they need in a timely fashion and move on. So that's our major goal. So that's with the building department. One other note, or one other topic I want to cover is the central sewer. We're going through and everybody says, hey, we haven't heard anything. What are you guys doing? It seems like you're dragging your feet. We're not dragging our feet. We have to go through our tentative and preliminary budgets, which is going to take another month or so. We're all the town board members and the supervisors working diligently to crunch these numbers so that we can make this budget attractive to all. So we have to get through that process. So the month of November and December are fairly busy months because between the budget and the holidays, it seems that a lot of additional stuff can't be done. And in January, when we do our reorg meeting, which we usually have 60 or 70 resolutions, once we get our January agenda accomplished with all our reorg and have the budget and the reorg and all the departments moved, and hopefully we're smooth sailing a little bit, then we're going to start digging into the sewer. So what I like to tell the people now, we have been working on the sewer for the last 2 years. We have a means and methods. This board basically has a vision for what we want to do with the sewer. We have basically a vision of where the sewer is going to start and where the sewer is going to stop. We have a list of parcels and people that are going to be members of the sewer district if the sewer district is passed by all the voters. We have a formula that we're going to use instead of somewhat of a convoluted formula that the prior administration had for lot size and road size and how much acres you own and how big you were and how small you were. We kind of simplified it to basically water usage. So over these last couple of years, we've been compiling with the Dutchess County Wastewater, all the people that are on this list of the potential sewer district members. We know what their water usage is. We have, each parcel has a breakdown, so now we know how many gallons per day each parcel owner has to date. So what we did is we kind of calculated a formula of what their usage would be and come up with a rate, so that when we do our presentation, we already have the numbers available based on your water usage today. This would be your sewer fee or your sewer tax bill per year, and that would kind of put it in perspective. So we have a lot of this legwork already done. Like I said, after January's reorg meeting and into February, we're going to start laying out our presentations to the public. We're going to have the town engineer here. We're going to have some sketches here. We're going to have a list of all the people that are in the district, what we're proposing, how we're proposing, and how we value and engineer it to get it to the cost where we think that is going to be cost effective for everybody. Above and beyond that, the supervisor has a tally and a list between him and the controller's office of the money that is already pledged to us, what our total cost is, how much the shortfall is, and of course that list keeps changing every day because we are still applying for additional grants and hoping additional money comes in. So that's still working in progress as we're going to update the public. So with that being said, we haven't forgot about the sewer district. We, like I say, in February's meeting, we're going to start, getting back onto that hot and heavy. Above and beyond this, this board has been working tremendously together. We have like 30 some active projects going all at once. And I apologize that with the new website and what's going on, that we haven't brought the public up to speed, and we're going to work on trying to give you updates on the computer and also during our monthly meetings. But we are totally short-staffed here. We got a lot of stuff going on, and that's why I wanted to kind of explain to everybody that we're not sitting back in our easy chairs. Everything is still moving forward, and we got a lot on our plate. So with that being said, that's my summary of what's happening. Supervisor, would you like to add anything?
Well, as far as the sewer is concerned, we brought the cost from a potential $24 million. We got it down to just under $13 million. And the pledged amount was around $5.7 million. So we're going after one more grant, which is New York Forward. If we were able to obtain that's $4.5 million, then we'll consider bonding the last $4 million. And that'll bring the cost down even more. So what we're going to present to the larger properties like Capola's and then the Nick and Nick's place over there at the town center, they're the large contributors to this, and we're even going to try to tie in to Stop and Shop down at the bottom. And our tie-in fees, what we came up with, water consumption uses, which should be equivalent to what the sewer discharge would be. So we took that and we doubled it just to make sure of any growth that could happen coming down Route 9. So we haven't taken our foot off the pedal on that one. It's just getting this all together and working with our controller to find out what our current debt service is, which will be decreasing considerably by the end of this year by, what is it, like $600 and somewhat thousand. So if I can get it down to $4 million bond, that's nothing for the town to handle. And we have a good bond rate on that. And like John said, we haven't, the town hall, as you can see, is moving forward. We ran into a lot of tie-in questions with the town for life safety, so that slowed us down a little, but we have the elevators installed, and they're bricking it out right now. And once they do that by next week, we should have the new entranceway done. We're coming up with a automatic door. And then I think second week in November, we're
Between
planning.
the first and second week, yeah.
We're planning on doing the move, and then this way we can access the handicap bathroom areas that we have to renovate within. We will have a grand opening of the addition, and as you can see in here is pretty well done, and except for a couple of glass things and nitpicky stuff that I'll do towards the end. But it's been moving around. We're within our budget we had planned for, and it's right in the time frame, even with all the overages that, we had some allowances that we had, so we're right at the, you know, the 11th hour, and everything is holding within where it's supposed to be, as long as we don't spend too much on landscaping. But Barbara had done Barbara and Cecilia put together a wonderful little ceremony for Eleanor's 140th birthday, which turned out to be a big turnout. It was difficult to plant the tree very quickly, but she got it done. I let it be on both of their hands to do. I said, I don't want to know nothing if it fails. But it didn't, and it was a wonderful turnout, and I thank you, Barbara, for that. That's all I have to add to it. Okay, Craig's not here, so we will go to Barbara. You got 30 seconds.
Which one? Does it matter?
They should both do it.
Hello, Town Board. This is working, yes? Well, I've been asked to become the chair of the Shade Tree Commission, which has not been active in a past couple of years.
Couple?
A couple,
Like 7, 8,
10,
10,
More.
12? Yes.
about that, probably 15. But anyway, the Shade Tree Commission is part of Hyde Park. It's part of the beauty of our town, and the focus, quote unquote, is to ensure the health and preservation of Hyde Park trees and to promote education, stewardship, and best maintenance practices. And that's what we're going to do. It's funny, Cecilia asked me, she said, talk a little bit about the history of trees. Well, I could put about an hour of that into a presentation, and probably will at the libraries in the future. But it's interesting, at the post office here, on the murals, there's a vent in there, and above the vent, you have to really look up and see it, but there's a little booklet you can ask the post office person for, a little booklet about what murals are what. And in there is a mural of FDR working in his tree farm. And so just look above us, and there's our history. But the Shade Tree Commission information is now on the town website. It's under other boards and committees. Mark Prine here is my liaison to the Shade Tree Commission. And if you're on Facebook, there's a new Facebook page. It's called Trees of Hyde Park, New York, spelled out. Trees of Hyde Park, New York. And the link will be on is on the town website. And there, any information that anybody would need on trees, if you're not on Facebook, we'll get you the information. The library will also, I'll make sure that they have information. You can go to either the libraries, there'll be a packet of information on trees. But the thing is that as far as one of the duties of the Shade Tree Commission is keeping a journal, which I've already started doing. So even if, hopefully this will be here to pass down, so there's an institutional memory or a record of what has gone on and what we have. And combining my interest in history and horticulture, that's what native trees are. They're historical trees. So that's what we're going to try to work on, because they're going to last. But I just want to tell you a little bit about myself, because this is a volunteer position, okay? But I was involved with street trees and the adopted tree program in Manhattan. I created that in Hell's Kitchen, New York. Put in about 100 tree pits, not the square ones, but the long ones. Started the adopted tree program, and people getting in there to learn what plants can be planted, how to prune. Took the citizen tree pruner course, learned how to prune. I was a card carrying pruner. So even I had a little pruning tool with me in my purse, even waiting for a Broadway play, and you could go and prune a tree. And you'd have to show what are you doing with that tree? And you could show your identification. The thing is that people can adopt a tree, and that's what we're going to work on. The actual street trees, if someone wants to adopt it, we're already talked with the Boy Scout troop, so they can learn how to take care of a tree, what tree it is, that kind of information. So, but a little bit more about myself. When I moved here in 2015, I was asked to be town historian for 2 years, and then I served for 4 years as on the board of the Vanderbilt Garden Association, and I've given many lectures on trees and on gardening at FDR's place, at the libraries and whatnot. Founded Hyde Park Garden Habitat, and that's been there for 6 years. Worked for the National Wildlife Federation for about 30 years as a volunteer, and it's all about taking care of what we have and the beauty of what we have. I was named a Harrison Fellow at the Historic Landscape Institute at Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, and worked at Manitoba's Woodland Landscape Council in Garrison, member of the American Public Gardens Association, and with the National Wildlife Federation. I took a course with them. The reason I say this is not just say, oh, look at me. The reason I say this is like people are going to say, who are you? And I want this to stand on YouTube as this is who I am. Trees, I know. Pruning, I know. What I don't know, I will find out. Trees are important. They're really important to our homes, electricity, everything, providing shade, and that's what it's all about. I've contacted the state, the county, our chief here, Howie, and everybody, all the stakeholders in our trees, Parks Department, and together we're going to come up with some really sound ideas, and that's about it. And thank you very much for appointing me to this position. Are there any questions?
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
So is the main focus going to be trying to, I know that we've been having a lot of complaints and like when you go to the crossroads intersection here where these trees are in the brick walkways, that the bricks heaved up, and
Yes.
I know out in the front near Sue Sereno's office, and I know down there next to Guacamole, the guys are complaining that the trees that were planted there are up against the buildings and stuff like that. Is it going to be the task of the Shade Commission to take a look at that and maintain them, or?
Already have. I look at those trees, they were black locust trees. DOT did install them a long time ago.
Yeah.
It is the property owner's responsibility for pruning, but the state DOT, which I've already spoken to them, are willing to come with me to look at it, to see what's going on. But if it's just pruning so their sign is more prevalent, we'll have to find out what the issues are. Are there issues with the tree, or are there what are the issues? So I'm already looking into that.
Because
And-
when we started to do a little digging into it, especially up next to Guacamole and next to Sue's building over here, I mean, a lot of them are in the DOT right away, and of course, the people don't own them. So number one, like at Guacamole, they're projecting over top of the roof, and the guys from the diner are saying, hey, listen, it's not my job to trim them, because number one, I didn't plant them, and they're not even on my property. So, I mean, it becomes wishy-washy. So I was wondering how we accomplish that task of getting them maintained and trimmed back and everything.
As I said, I will meet with the state DOT, but state DOT put in the trees,
Yeah.
but the right-of-way makes them you have to take care of them as the property owner.
Okay.
So there's a duality in maintenance and responsibility and legal responsibility.
Yep.
It is quite complicated,
Okay.
but we have to find out, first of all, is there a problem with the tree, or is it a problem with, what is the problem?
Okay.
And see who it is.
And then we're going to also try to address some of the stuff in the crossroads. I mean,
Yes, actually the crossroads, I did find some actual old plans for it. They actually were planted correctly, which is
Yeah.
very odd. I
Yeah.
don't know why they heaved up so much. I just thought they were planted too high, but that is not the situation. So we have to really just pull some bricks and look and see what the situation is.
Okay, yeah, because I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people are complaining they use
Right,
that
no, it's a
walkway.
trip hazard at
It's a
this
trip
point.
hazard,
Either
yeah.
they have to be maybe removed and/or dug up and replanted and/or extend the tree beds.
Okay.
So let's see where the roots are going and why it's really heaving. And that just takes a crowbar and some work.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
All right, the town clerk to present the preliminary budget for the town of Hyde Park fiscal year 2025.
Town board members, in front of you, you may have seen a packet. This is the 2025 preliminary budget. I have received it today, October 15th, 2024.
Can we make the received vote, or the received call?
Yep. Councilman Prine?
Received.
Councilwoman Mosqueda?
Received.
Councilman Lombardi?
Received?
Councilman Prisakowski?
Received.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Received.
And for the record, this will be available on the website tomorrow, the preliminary budget for the public. We have a few copies up front.
Does anyone from the public have any comments on any resolution and
No,
town?
we just got to do the one for the other one. We just missed the last one for the tow. Continuation. Number 2 under public hearing.
Where is that one? Oh, yes, the proposed local law amending Chapter 103 of the Town of Hyde Park Code regarding towing of vehicles. Public comments on that?
Chief, can you come up and we'll just have a quick discussion on this to figure out where we're at?
And this was a hearing that was already opened once, or it was held open, so just so
It's held open,
clear for the
yes.
record, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so Joe and Councilman Lombardi, Deputy Supervisor Lombardi, and I worked hard on this amendments to this law to try to make sure we encompass everything. Like I said last time, it was 12 years since we looked at this law again, and a lot of things have changed since then. I haven't received any additional comments from anyone, myself, for or against the proposed law, so I don't have much more to add. than what
Okay,
we
so
did
the only
last
thing that
month.
we have that we just basically circulated, I'm waiting back for Tad. Tad Moss is looking at it just as far as the language of storage yard and how it meets our code, and make sure that it's enforceable from her perspective, if there's something, some type of language, or if she wanted to add anything. So she was going to send a couple emails back and forth with Joe to just give us some input, because I like to have that as the final input. And then if there's nothing else, I'd like to then close that and move forward that. We haven't got anything from anybody that wanted any drastic changes or any input from any of the tow truck guys, right?
I have not received anything myself.
And just so the public's aware, and you, Chief, I did get some preliminary comments from Ted, which I just saw, John. I think she mostly just wants us to take a look and see whether the tow yards themselves don't seem to have a specific designation in our code. They don't have a definition. They don't appear, they probably are generally incidental to auto body shops and auto repair shops and things like that. She suggests we may want to take a look at whether we want to make that an accessory use, so that if we're going to have these provisions, that it be something that has to have a site plan review going forward. Yards that are already established, of course, will be established, but I think that's her concern. So perhaps we hold the hearing open one more time. I take a look at what Tad's got to say, and I'll keep you involved as well.
Absolutely.
And we'll take one more shot at it.
Yeah, because it's got to include, I don't think it includes currently that it has to be fenced in and all the security. I don't think that's all in there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to add it.
So are you saying, because I want to simplify it, I don't want it, when
Yeah,
the
we gotta
police
leave it
department
open
goes
now.
out, I don't want to reinvent the wheel here.
Right.
So would it be that the 10 people or so that's on the list, would that be something that, it'd be your interpretation that there would be pre-existing, so if they didn't meet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to have people who can serve, but you'd want them, I think, for the most part, you'd still want them to meet the regulations. I don't think you have to,
Well, I don't think the code regulations currently states that they have to have a fenced-in yard, security yard.
So what we're doing is we're looking at two aspects of it, right? So we have the first aspect of an auto accident. So your car is involved in an auto accident. Well, everyone knows how the electric vehicles have come upon us and come upon us quickly. So you can't store an electric vehicle the same way as you store, that's been involved in an auto accident, the same way as you store a regular car. So we can't say to someone, you need to keep this crash car inside your garage or in a fenced lot next to other vehicles, because if it does reignite or it does catch fire, it's going to ruin a lot of stuff. So we started looking at that, and we started looking at the aspect of vehicles that are impounded. So if you're arrested for driving while intoxicated, you don't have a driver's license, your vehicle's insurance is not up to date, those vehicles aren't legally allowed to be on the roadway. So we impound those, all right, and we bring them back to a lot, and those vehicles are easily movable. So we have had instances in my 30 years where we've had people come back with a second set of keys and take their vehicle without authorization and take it out of people's yards that it shouldn't have been taken out of. So that creates a major liability for the town, as well as if that person was intoxicated and they took their vehicle and went down the road and had an auto accident, we don't want someone to lose their life from that. So we want to, speak with Deputy Supervisor Lombardi, we want to try to take our time and do this right, so we do it once and we encompass everything. And now we're even looking into the zoning issues, which that is way above my job description as far as that goes. But I just want everyone to know that the police department doesn't have any sanctioning authority in this law. This is a law that is adopted, that the town board, I bring a complaint to the town board. You as the town board are the ones who determine if someone gets suspended, someone removed from the list, etc. We're the body that goes out and inspects the locations to make sure that it meets the law. But any removal or addition or subtraction is all done by the town board. It's not done by the police department. So we're kind of like the people that go out and make sure they're meeting all the criteria. But if it's not, then we come back and we report to the town board, and you have the authority to remove someone or suspend someone. We're just trying to, we're not trying to invite other outside agencies in. We're not trying to take business away from anyone. We're just trying to make sure that everyone's compliant. Right, the last thing we want to do is take business away from our local businesses, or we want to invite a bunch of people in from outside that aren't here and don't have any reason to be here or any right to be here. So we're trying to just make sure that we encompass everything and make it as robust as possible, but also simplistic. So that way, as you guys were talking about with the building department, we don't want the applications to be so hard that the tow operators and the companies can't understand the application process. So we want to make it, we want to simplify it, but also make sure that everyone is covered, including the town. Because if someone is involved in an auto accident, they're already dealing with a traumatic event as it is. And if we say, yes, this company is on our list, and we call for someone off our list, we want to ensure that their vehicle is safe at the location that it's going to as well.
And we want to create a level playing field. I think that over the years, we were a little laxed with this, and, you know, some guys had 2 spots on the list that really only supposed to have 1. There wasn't a
Agreed.
level playing field. So I think at the same time, we're gonna you know, create a level playing field for all, which is the right thing to do. All right, I'd like to, if anybody has nothing to say about this, I'd like to continue this, you know, public comment period and till we get our, you know, final thoughts together. What's your thoughts, Joe?
I think that's right. So you should just put on the record, it'll be continued to the next meeting, so you don't have to re-notice it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Noted.
Chief.
Also, any public comments on the determine if the property owners of 18 South Drive and 15 Ravine Drive are in compliance with the standard enumeration 48-4, 48-7, and 84-3. Is there any public comments?
Well, that I think you have to officially open too, right? This is the
Oh, we
first
didn't
time
open
this has
that
been on.
Oh, that's open to public hearing,
Yeah.
sorry. Put these back on. I'd like to open the public hearing for that. I have a motion,
So moved?
second.
Second.
So this is a procedure, it's probably less common, I think, maybe for some of the board members and for the public. But this is a procedure under your code that allows for a public hearing when there's been a property that's been poorly maintained under the provisions of the code that has caused sort of a public nuisance, again, according to what the law says. When that happens, the building inspector goes out to confirm that that's the case, provides a notice to the property owner that they need to come into compliance. If the building inspector finds that they have not done so, the town does have the right to go in and remedy the situation, but of course, because that is a matter of remedying a situation on private property, it's due process to have a public hearing to allow that owner to come in and perhaps explain themselves or say that it has been complied with, or present to you their position on it. And so that's what this public hearing is for, and once it's closed, if you want to go forward, you can authorize a town contractor or the town employees to go in and do something about it. There's procedures involved in that as well, which we can, we can obviously will comply with after this public hearing is closed. But that's the purpose of this hearing.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote on the opening of the public hearing?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye. Will the town clerk read the public hearing notice, please?
Notice of public hearing. Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park. Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park shall hold a public hearing on October 15th, 2024 at 6:05 p.m. at the Hyde Park Town Hall, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, to determine if properties located at 18 South Drive and 15 Ravine Road are in compliance with the standards enumerated in Section 48-4, Section 48-7, and Section 84-3. Any persons desiring to be heard on this matter will have an opportunity to do so at the public hearing by the order of the Town Board dated September 27, 2024, Hyde Park, New York, Sarah Holman, Town Clerk.
Are there any public comments regarding this? Has the town clerk received any public comments?
I have not.
Okay, may I have a motion to close the public
Well,
hearing?
hold on.
Whoop. Didn't see you get up there.
You didn't see me?
That's a good thing.
Just for the record, say your name and your address where you
Yeah.
live, please.
My name is John Capola, and my family and I, we own 4159 Albany Post Road, which is the Village Square Motel. Our property goes down South Drive, over the bridge, and then down the ravine, and it goes along Horseshoe Drive. And we've had numerous people dumping debris in our property for years. And it's gotten to the point where about 4 or 5 years ago, DEC approached me about cleaning up the property, and it cost me about $3,000. I had to get a dumpster and had to hire people to go down the ravine and pick up all the debris that was down there. Now, moving forward, we have the same problem all over again. People are dumping debris down there. There's a man who was fixing up his driveway. He rented a skid steer, and he took the old asphalt on his driveway, pushed it across South Drive, and pushed it down our ravine, as well as pushing down all the other debris that's lined up along South Drive. So I'm here to complain, and I'm here to see what can we do to stop this. It's getting to the point where it's not one or two people, it's many people that are dumping debris, and I don't mean just brush, I mean debris like refrigerators, stoves, couches, beds. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's outrageous. Just this morning, we also own Capola's Restaurant. Overnight, somebody put 2 box springs, 2 mattresses, and bed frames along our dumpster, and I had to have Carmine's Landscaping come in and take the stuff away and bring it down to
Recycle Depot.
Recycle Depot. That cost me money also. So it's not legal to dump your garbage onto someone else's property. And what can we do to stop something like this?
Yeah, so, a couple of things. First of all, thank you. I'm Joe Ariel, I'm a town attorney. The first thing is on this particular matter that was called for this public hearing. Something that would be helpful is you've mentioned some, and I'll get to the other things that you mentioned too. The public hearings are on these two properties which appear to have been cited for
Yes.
being the cause of some of that debris. Can you just speak to that as opposed to, just so we're clear on the record, the connection between the owners of the property and just people just coming by and dumping stuff in the ravine? It would just
Right.
help for the record to...
Those two property owners, they actually admitted that they dumped debris down our ravine at 4159 Albany Post Road. So, but it is a problem that they assume that since their property adjoins mine, that they're allowed to do stuff like this.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for that.
Excuse me, one more
Sure,
thing, Joe. In fact, one property owner even said, oh, he knows John Capola, and he got permission from John Capola to dump his debris on the property.
Do you know which of the two? Just
Yeah, I
because there's
do.
two different properties.
Yeah,
so
I do. I know the person's name. It's not the one on Ravine, it's the one on South Drive.
Okay, thank you.
And it's ridiculous. Why would I even think of allowing someone to dump their garbage
Right.
on the property?
So Joe, just to clarify before you go any farther, the one situation, a bunch of brush and logs were dumped, but they weren't dumped on Mr. Capola's property. They were dumped on the shoulder road, which technically is the town of Hyde Park's property. We dispatched, the police department's been notified numerous times. We have activity reports, plus I told Howie Fisher to go down there and document and take pictures. The gentleman had, on this one particular dumping site that was on the shoulder of the road, he had 30 days to comply to clean it up, or we were going to, take action because it's town property. And we don't want anybody to come by and dump stuff on the shoulder of the road and take off. To complicate the matter even more, the gentleman that was digging out his driveway with the skid steer that decided to take all his surplus soil and broken asphalt, he dumps off the same shoulder that this gentleman already dumped the logs and the brush on the town right away. He takes his skid steer, dumps his piles of stuff, and then he pushes it off with the skid steer. So now the logs and the brush end up going down the ravine on Mr. Capola's property. So the first thing the highway superintendent says, well, listen, the gentleman that started the initial dumping of the brush and logs, that he was going to clean it up, that were on the shoulder of the road, now he can't clean up because it's down a ravine 30 feet because the other guy took it upon himself to take the skid steer and dump and then push off everything else. So it just snowballs.
Yeah. So there's a couple different types of violations going on there, and one is just the fact, as you have both said, that it's illegal to do that kind of dumping on anybody else's property,
Right.
And certainly on the town. Those would be justice court violations, and it's an enforcement issue where I'm sure the police department's doing what they can to enforce those provisions. There can be civil liability for those things too. Now I know that you don't really want to hear that, but I mean it's also a trespass, arguably. I mean I can't give that advice just off the cuff, but generally speaking, if somebody puts something enters your property or causes something to enter your property that doesn't belong there, that you didn't give permission to be there, it's also a trespass. It's a civil nuisance. As far as the people where it can be linked to a specific property that's doing something, that it's a lack of maintenance, there's also a separate law in the books, and that's part of what this is about tonight. And I know the town is looking to strengthen that law and streamline that law, about pursuing owners of properties who allow those things to happen or cause those things to happen, and then they can fix it at the town. They can go in and fix it at the town's expense, but then get reimbursed as a special tax assessment against that property. So, unfortunately, there's no perfect way to do that, but certainly everything that you've mentioned is not legal according to the code, I know that the town is very concerned about it, and that's part of why we're trying to pursue it now.
I mean, this one person was given 30 days. It's well past 30 days. He did absolutely nothing.
Right, and that's why, exactly, and because, as I said when we introduced this, it's, as you can imagine, you know, we live in a country where your right to your own property is pretty sacrosanct, right? So you don't want a law in the books that says, you know, if the town thinks you're not keeping your property up nice, we can walk onto your property and mow your lawn for you, right? But in cases like this, when it becomes significant enough that it's actually causing harm, or again, a public nuisance, the law does allow the town to do that. It just requires this public hearing. So unfortunately, you put out that notice, you give them the 30 days, you know, they don't do it in 30 days, now you gotta schedule a public hearing, that's what we're here tonight to do, and then there's further follow-up on that. So hopefully there'll be, you know, some good results as a result of that, but you have to go through that process because you're technically infringing on a property right if you want to intervene in a situation like that. But the town has the right to do it, and that's what they're considering doing.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Hopefully
Yeah.
we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And something where we can stop this. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's absurd, and people are really taking advantage of it. And they know they know there's not much that can be done.
Yeah.
Well, they will be.
All right.
Point well taken. Thank you,
All
John.
right, thank you.
So, back to that, just one note. So, the gentleman that initiated the stuff on the town property, and now it ended up on Mr. Capola's property. I mean, who,
I think that's probably a justice court matter. You just have to go after that guy in justice court, and there'll be funds available to you there and action there.
Well, it depends on how long it took him to respond.
Yeah.
Right.
okay,
If he took too long to respond, he's still on the hook.
okay.
And so on.
Both of them are. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know the gentleman with the asphalt, I know that the DEC said, you know, you got 30 days, if not, we're gonna give you a ticket.
Yeah.
So they tried to say, hey, get it cleaned up ASAP, and that's where the driveway guy kept going and dumping it over there. So I'm thinking that if he's a smart man, he'll get that cleaned up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Priscowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried. Okay, Mark, you're up.
All right. Resolution 1015-1 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the resignation of Provisional Municipal Secretary Martina McHugh and create the position of Code Enforcement Clerk and appoint Martina McHugh provisionally to said position.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Priscowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-2 of 2024, resolution authorizing entrance onto the property located at 15 Greenbush Drive, tax ID number 6163-03-484453, within the town of Hyde Park, to bring this property into compliance with the standards of Chapter 85-4 of the Town Code, and to assess the costs of such action against the property as a lien and charge on the same.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Priscowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-3 of 2024, resolution authorizing entrance onto the property located at 4357 and 4359 Albany Post Road, tax numbers within the town of Hyde Park, to bring the property into compliance with the standards of Chapter 85-4 of the Town Code, and to assess the cost of the such action against the property as a lien and charge on the same.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-4 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Councilman Mark Prine as the liaison to the Town of Hyde Park Shade Tree Commission.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, now you're the liaison.
Resolution 1015-5 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Barbara Hobbins to the Shade Tree Commission and designate her as chairperson for said commission.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried. Now you're the chair.
Resolution 1015-6 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve and set a public hearing for the 2025 preliminary budget for the Town of Hyde Park.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-7 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve NUC Tuck payment for Hudson Valley Audio Visual, Inc. for the Town Hall Addition Project.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-8 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to sign an agreement with Friendly Shipping and Moving Corp.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Motion carried.
Resolution 1015-9 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Tanya Vestenberg as permanent full-time senior account clerk for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-10 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute a change order extending the term for shared services agreement between the Town of Hyde Park and the County of Dutchess for the 2024-2025 snow removal season.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All right, will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-11 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve budget revisions to the Town of Hyde Park highway budget for the period of October 2024, budget revision number 2024-10-01.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-12 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to urge EPA to adopt non-protective determination acknowledge use of the Hudson River for drinking water and review and analyze the impacts of PCB contamination to drinking water quality in its third five-year review concerning the Hudson River PCB cleanup.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-13 of 2024, a resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for the Town of Hyde Park Personal Assistant Heidi Peters.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-14 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Raymond Croniser as Building Inspector 2 for the Town of Hyde Park Building Department.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-15 of 2024, a resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the resignation of part-time police assistant Jonathan Long.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-16 of 2024, resolution authorizing the town, Hyde Park Town Clerk to solicit requests for proposed bids for the Dismore Park Basketball Court Repair Project.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-17 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute the renewal lease agreement with the Reformed Dutch Church of Hyde Park for the Town of Hyde Park Recreation Senior Center for 2 months beginning on November 1st, 2024 and ending on December 31st, 2024.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Discussion, please. Why is it only 2 months?
Because that's the only time they need it.
It's only for a 2-month period for the seniors, is that it?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-18 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve the application submission to the 2024 Partners of Climate Action Hudson Valley Ecological Restoration Grant Program to install 2 native plant flower beds in front of the town hall.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-19 of 2024, a resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve the application submission for the 2024 Partners of Climate Action Hudson Valley Ecological Restoration Grant Program for a Hackett Hill project.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-20 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve the application submission of the 2024 Partners of Climate Action Hudson Valley.
May I have a second, please?
Wait, hold on a second.
Ecological.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was a double. No, it's different. Let me finish. Application submission to the 2024 Partners of Climate Action Hudson Valley Ecological Restoration Grant Program for the Hackett Hill Project 2.
May I have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda.
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilman Prisakowski.
Aye.
And Supervisor Torchiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-21 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to authorize Kyle W. Barnett of the law firm Vanderwater & Vanderwater to negotiate a settlement for tax certiorari proceedings filed against the Town of Hyde Park by North Cross LLC.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda,
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski,
Aye.
and Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-22 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to authorize Kyle Barnett Esquire of the law firm Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP to negotiate a settlement for tax Satori
It's a tough word, isn't it?
Certiorari.
Certiorari.
certiorari proceedings filed against the Town of Hyde Park by Hyde Park Roosevelt Cinemas LLC.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
Councilman Prine,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda,
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski,
Aye.
and Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-23 of 24, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to introduce and schedule a public hearing for proposed local law number G of 2024 entitled "A Local Law to Amend Chapter 1 of the Town Code, General Provisions to add a new Article 3."
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda,
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski,
Aye.
and Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
Resolution 1015-24 of 2024, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Clerk to issue a hawking and peddling license to Samuel Purdy of Home Evolution.
May I have a second, please?
Did we get a response back on this? When we usually get don't you usually give us a recommendation before?
Yes,
I think it
there
was
was nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all okay.
Oh,
It was okay.
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda,
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski,
Aye.
and Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried.
This is added at the dais, Resolution 1015-25 of 2024. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve setting a public hearing for the establishment of the Jeffrey Groves Estate, Daniels Way Drainage District, determining that the action is an unlisted action under SECRA, and declaring intent to act as lead agency.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Will the clerk please take the roll call vote?
Councilman Prine,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mosqueda,
Aye.
Councilman Lombardi,
Aye.
Councilman Perskowski,
Aye.
and Supervisor Torgiani.
Aye, motion carried. Any new and old business?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mark.
First things first, I want to say thank you to Liz. We recently received a lot of emails from FDR students asking board members questions about where we want our taxpayer money to go and similar questions. Liz wrote a great response answering all of the students' questions, so I just want to say thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
There is some progress in the flooding on Statsburg situation. We're still looking at the plans to build the retention ponds to slow the water as it travels down the golf course and throughout the hamlet. And then last, I just want to revisit the traffic survey that was done on Old Post Road in Statsburg back in June. For 10 days, we collected the data. There were a total of 9,388 total cars that passed through. 44% of the drivers passing through were speeding, and 17% were over 10 miles per hour. So please just, be mindful of your speed limit, slow down. Everyone wants to make it home at the end of the day. Thank you.
Anything else? Anyone?
Liz, you got anything?
No, I'm
I'm
good.
good, Don.
Yeah, briefly.
Everybody's good?
Just
Don's
briefly.
John, got it. Okay. Don.
We had some residents show up at one time looking for some additional traffic security on North Cross Road. Cross Street would be Connolly Drive and 9G. At the time, we figured we exhausted all avenues. After speaking with our local highway department and county highway, and then ultimately New York State DOT regional office, I learned that in order to have any additional traffic, stop traffic or traffic stop ahead painted on the road, they have to send a DOT regional traffic engineer out to assess the situation. So I emailed those folks out there, and they're going to hopefully get back to me shortly with a study. The second thing is, on some of the local websites, we have October 25th, 5:30 to 7:30, a groundbreaking ceremony right here at the Hyde Park Library project for the installation of the elevator. And on another note, for those who are interested, early voting this year starts on October 26th, goes to November 3rd. For myself, out in Ward 4, I'll be going right over to the Grand Union.
BOE Training Center.
Yes, they have different times there. Saturday on the 26th, 9 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5. Monday to 28th is 12 to 8. Tuesdays, 9 to 5. Wednesday to 30th, 12 to 8. Thursday, the 31st, 8 to 4. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are all 9 to 5. So anybody who's interested in voting early can get out there. Just be aware that the time changes. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you very much.